Hello, I'm going to demonstrate how to connect a Microsoft Access front end or database to a MySQL database from another server or an external server. So first of all, before we do anything, we're going to start up our Microsoft Access and we're going to create a blank database. And I'm going to name this database iTech 285 and create. Now it is going to attempt to create a new table for me. I don't want to use this table, however, because I'm going to be hooking up to or linking to an external database or table in an external database. So that is really what we want. So we'll be using Access as the front end and MySQL as the back end. Now, before we can do that, what we need to do is that we need to set up our ODBC or our MySQL connector. So we're going to go to MySQL site and download the ODBC driver or ODBC connector for MySQL. And in this case, I use the 32-bit because I have the 32-bit version of Office installed on this machine. So you can scroll down to the bottom of the page here, and you don't need to use any of these. You can just say no thanks and start my download. Now I have already downloaded, for the sake of time, I have already downloaded that file and I haven't run the install. So I'm just going to go into my control panel and I'm going to search for ODBC, and you'll see as I started typing it, it came up here, set up data sources. So what we're going to do with setting up the data source is that we're going to create the connection to the database. So that I am going to go here and set up a system DSN. I'll click add and I'm going to look for MySQL ODBC. So I'm going to hit finish, and the data source name 285 connect. Now the server, the MySQL server that I'm using, is on a virtual machine that is running another database called in fact another operating system called ClearOS, and this is it here. So you will see here the ClearOS database server is at this address, and in a live environment, this is in fact what you will want to be doing. More than likely your external server is going to be on a standalone database server machine. So this is what I'm going to replicate here. So the address of the server, I'm going to type it in. And I'm going to type in a username that I created. In this case, I didn't use a password. So in a live environment, of course, that is a definite no-no. But for the sake of testing, we're going to set it up. We're going to do it like that here, just for simplicity. Now, I haven't set up my database yet. So even though the MySQL instance is running, I have not set up the database. So I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to create a database, and I'm going to call this again iTech 285 backend, and I'm going to hit create. I'm going to create a table, and I'm going to call it demo, and I'm going to give it 5 columns. So I'll hit go, and here it's going to ask me for some information to create the names of the first few columns. So I'm going to give one ID and tell this to be, let's say, 6 characters long, and in this case I'm going to say that this is my primary key. And I'm going to give this name, and I'm going to use a varchar, and let's say 40 characters long. Again, we're going to create an address, again varchar, and in this case we could say 255 characters. Email, and give that 40, and we can create a phone number, and here I'll probably use varchar as well, even though it's a normally a numeric field, but for special characters and so on, I will save it as a varchar. So, and I'll probably give it, let's say, 13 characters. Great. So now that I've done that, I'm going to hit save, and my table has been created. So now if I hit browse, you'll see for this table nothing exists there. No, it's freshly created. So we're going to connect to that now in our Microsoft Access database. So I'm going to click on the external data tab. I'm sorry, we have not finished setting up our ODBC connection, so I'm going to do that now. So our ODBC, our database, we have here, if we click down, you will see iTech 285 backend. So that's the database you want to connect to, and I'm just going to test the connection, and in fact it is successful. So I'm going to click OK and OK again. So the connection is created. So now on our Access front end, I'm going to click on the external tab and click on ODBC database. And here I'm going to select link to the data source. We don't want to import the data, we want to link to the data source. So the data will actually be resident in that MySQL instance. So we're going to look at our machine data source, and we will see the connection that we created. So I'm going to click OK, and we will see the table showing up. So I'm going to click OK again, and if I open it, I will see all of the fields that I created. So I'm just going to enter a couple of records. And we will see it saved successfully. I'm going to just create another record here. Okay, so we have 2 records saved. So what if we were successful? When I go back to my MySQL instance, I should now see that that information is there. And now that I refresh, here is the information that I just entered rather. And just to prove it, I'm going to edit this. So I'm just going to edit the phone number in this case. And I'm going to say go. And when I go back, you will see that the data has been changed. So we have thus demonstrated that we successfully connected to an instance of MySQL using Microsoft Access as the front end, but the data actually resides on the MySQL instance. Thank you very much for viewing, and I trust that you'll join me for another video again soon. Goodbye.